Here's something you might not have asked yourself lately. Has your weight loss become a cold case? Is it non-existent? Is there nothing going on? Do you want something to go on? Do you want to actually lose the weight? Welcome back to the JoLynn Braley Show. Today is episode number 528. The topic, is your weight loss a cold case? Let's find out. Hello. Welcome back to the JoLynn Braley Show. This is JoLynn Braley. I am the permanent weight loss coach, the founder of the Inner Self Diet, the diet that actually addresses the root of the problem instead of only the symptom of the problem. What is the symptom? The symptom is your weight. However many pounds it is that you're overweight, 20 pounds, 100 pounds, 200 pounds, 10 pounds, that is the symptom. And everybody thinks that that's the problem. But if that were the problem, then what would be the big deal? Because all you need to do is just live a healthy lifestyle, right? Just do the healthy eating plan that you already have knowledge of. Why not just do it? Why not white knuckle it? In fact, I talked about white knuckle weight loss in episode 524. You can listen to that for free. Just search in the JoLynn Braley Show for white knuckle weight loss and you'll find that. I talked about the pros and cons. But what's the big deal if weight loss is just simply about a healthy eating plan? What would be the problem? Why does anybody have a problem then? Why? Well, is it possible that you're missing and have missed the most important piece of the puzzle? And the reason that you've missed it is because most have believed the mainstream diet industry that tells you that all you need is a new food diet. And just do it. Just follow it. Just get it done. Then we have to come back to, why are you having a problem? Why are you still emotionally eating? Why are you still binge eating? Why are you going through all of these problems and struggles of putting off your weight loss, of telling yourself you'll start on Monday or start after the holidays or start after the 4th of July or start after the cruise or after the wedding, after the birthday party, after. Why? Why is it such a big deal if all you need is just to do a healthy eating plan? Well, the Inner Self Diet addresses what is 92.8% of the problem, and this is why you're not doing the healthy eating plan. And the 92.8% of the problem is what's between your own two ears. You see, all weight loss starts with a thought, or all weight loss sabotage starts with a thought. It can go either way. You could sabotage yourself for the rest of your life and talk yourself out of the weight loss that you want. Or you could actually heal the root of the problem, which is what I teach my coaching clients and guide them through and help them through and help them get real with themselves in the Inner Self Diet with my personal coaching and my proven step-by-step system that I've never seen fail ever since I've been coaching weight loss coaching clients since 2009, unless you don't do the steps. You will fail if you don't do the steps, of course. And that's like anything in life. You can't just think about it or wish about it or hope about it or wonder about it. You have to do the steps and then you get the results. And every client that I've coached who has just simply followed the formula, they are struggle-free with their eating and their weight by the time we get to our 8th coaching call. Now, what does struggle-free mean? Does struggle-free mean that you can just sit around and think positive while you continue to eat brownies for every meal? No. Nope. Struggle-free means that you have to take action. You've got to do things to live a healthy lifestyle, but you're not getting in your own way anymore. You're not sabotaging yourself. You're not working against yourself. But that's because you do the steps to transform what is in between your own two ears. You have to work on your mindset. You need a weight loss mindset. That's 92.8% of what makes weight loss struggle-free, fun, and easy to do. And I know that it can sound impossible because of where you're at right now in the struggle and the frustration and maybe even desperation. But just because that's where you are, it doesn't mean that there aren't other people out there doing something different than what you're doing and succeeding. What if you were to do what they're doing? What if you were to break free? You really could. Hey, if you want to learn just a little bit more, head on over to www.easyfunweightloss.com. I have a free download for you there, www.easyfunweightloss.com. Also, to get inspired about this subject of struggle-free weight loss, listen to a few of my coaching clients tell you about it themselves. Search in the JoLynn Braley Show for the phrase real results. Those two words, real results, and you should be able to find the special sub-series that I did. It's titled Real Results from the Inner Self Diet. And it includes a few interviews that I did with graduates of the Inner Self Diet, and you can hear them tell you in their own words what their weight loss struggles and what their eating struggles were like, what the whole problem was like before they did the Inner Self Diet, and then what happened for them as a result of healing the root of their ongoing food and weight struggles and just doing the steps of the Inner Self Diet. So like I said, you can listen to that. It's totally free. It's here in the JoLynn Braley Show. Just search for that phrase, real results, and you should be able to find that special series that I did. So what about this topic? Is your weight loss a cold case? Well, there's two ways that we're going to look at this, two angles to this. But first, I want to say, what gave me this idea to talk about this. Now, this podcast here is the December 1st, 2022 episode of the JoLynn Braley Show. This is episode number 528. And at this time, there is a murder case that is being investigated out in Idaho. You might have heard of it. It depends on when you're listening to this podcast. Hey, if you're listening to this far in the future, I sure hope that this has been solved. But it was 2 weeks ago, November 13th, that 4 college students were murdered in their off-campus home. So what in the world does this have to do with weight loss? You're here because you're struggling with emotional eating, binge eating, late night stuffing, negative self-talk, low self-esteem. You're struggling with fears that you're always going to be fat, fears that you can't do it, or fears that if you do it, that people will criticize you, all kinds of problems that are tied up with this complex issue that has so much more to do with it than just the food, all right? So we're going to stay focused on weight loss, but I just wanted to tell you where I even got this idea to talk about this. So what's going on at this point in time is this murder happened 2 weeks ago. So here's the thing. There are people on the internet who are demanding an answer and there's actually people who are on the internet, like on Reddit and different news websites where they have comment sections and all over the place, all right? People on the internet who are into this story and they are demanding an answer right now. They're criticizing the police. Actually, I've read comments of people saying that they wish that just somebody would be arrested just so that it would soothe their own personal anxiety, which is absolutely crazy when you think about it. You can't just go around arresting people if they haven't done something, if they haven't broken the law. So where am I going with this? These people, this group of people who are demanding an answer to this murder that happened 2 weeks ago, they want it solved now, right now, instantly, right now, instantly. Give it to me now. I got to have it done now. And the same group of people who want this instant resolution, this instant answer to this case, are saying that this case is becoming a cold case because there's no instant answer. 2 weeks is too long for this mob of people who want instantaneous results. And since they're not getting an instant result, they are labeling this complicated case as a cold case. And to be clear, when I say that this internet mob is demanding these immediate answers, I do not mean the families of the college students who were murdered. And I don't mean people who live in that town either. I mean complete strangers in completely different parts of the world or the country who have no connection whatsoever to this incident, and it doesn't affect them. They don't live there, but they just want answers because that's what they want. And they want it right now. They want it instantly. Just wanted to make that clarification because, of course, the families want to get this resolved as soon as possible. And I understand why people in general want to see this solved because it's a really heinous crime. I'd like to see it solved too. But to demand that you get an instant answer just because you want it, just because, how does that make sense? It does apply to what I'm going to be talking about weight loss, because the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And so if you're impatient in one area, you're going to be impatient in another. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So let's take a look at this topic for today's podcast about, is it possible that your weight loss has become a cold case? One of the biggest problems that my weight loss coaching clients have shared since I started professionally coaching back in 2009 is impatience. All right? Maybe you have this problem too, and maybe this is why you're still overweight. Because the thing is that it takes time to release the fat from your body. That actually takes the longest amount of time in this whole journey, or whatever you want to call it. The work that I do with my awesome weight loss coaching clients in the Inner Self Diet to change your mindset so that it becomes easy and fun for you to do the things you need to do to get the weight off, like work out regularly, go for a walk, prep your meals in advance, all those things that you need to do so that you can get the weight off in a healthy way and stay consistent meal after meal after meal after meal. When you change your headspace, when you change your mindset, when you change your emotional state, when you change how you think about weight loss, when you change how you think about yourself, okay, weight loss becomes just not any big deal. It's no longer a problem. You do have to still do stuff. You got to do stuff to get the weight off. And then it takes time. The longest amount of time is how long it takes to get that weight off. Because if you're dropping 2 pounds per week, you're doing pretty good. 2 pounds of fat. Not 2 pounds of poop or 2 pounds of water, but 2 pounds of fat per week. You're doing really, really well. But you're never going to get that. You're never going to get that result if you are so impatient that you quit by Wednesday. And this is what tons of people out there do. And the reason they do it is because they don't have the right mindset to even venture into the process, the long-term process of getting the weight off. They don't have the right mindset for it. And what this has to do with this murder case is it's the same problem. Wanting and expecting an instant result right now just because you want it. And then getting mad that you don't have it. Now, when it comes to the topic of weight and overeating, well, then when you're an emotional eater, a binge eater, then what you do, you get so mad because it didn't work in 2 days or 3 days and you didn't lose 70 pounds, right? Then you just go right back into that same old cycle and tell yourself that you start again next Monday and you just eat whatever you want. And then that can go on for years. You know, I was out walking my dog one of those times. I walk my dog a lot. I've got 2 dogs. But we went down to this little fountain area in the town I live in, and there was a gal down there with her boyfriend who complimented my dogs like so many people do. And somehow we started talking about me being a weight loss coach. And you know what she said? She said, "Oh, I've got a really big problem losing weight." She said, "And I always quit I start every Monday and I quit by Wednesday because I haven't lost enough weight." And that's exactly what I'm talking about right here. And this problem of impatience, if you don't solve that, and the way to solve it is you got to change your mindset. If you don't solve that, how will you ever get the weight off? Because the weight is what, releasing that fat from your body is what takes time. It only occurs over time. And if you're dropping 2 pounds per week, that's 8 pounds a month. How can you ever get 8 pounds a month off if you quit every Wednesday? And so are you seeing what I'm saying? This mindset of wanting instant results with your weight, it's the same thing that these people are doing right now, wanting an instant result with this murder case. Just because they want it. I just want it. It's got to be right now. Just, I'm too anxious about this. You just got to solve it right now. Just do it. It's the same thing. It's the same problem. And why is this? I think a lot of it is because of the internet, because the internet gives you this idea and an experience that you can get an instant result. But are you really getting a result, or are you just getting a Google search result, which is just information? That's all that is. It's not an actual real result in your life or with your weight or with whatever it is you're looking to get an instant result with. Are you following me here? Is this making sense? And then where this ties into this topic of being a cold case is this mob of people on the internet who are demanding this resolution to this murder case that happened 2 weeks ago. They are claiming that it's now becoming a cold case after 2 weeks. The authorities have a lot of evidence and data, and they have to sort through. And they are the professionals. They are the ones who have to do their work. But what's funny here about this, okay, is these people on the internet who are not the professionals criticizing the authorities and saying that because there's not already an arrest in 2 weeks, that now this whole case is just a cold case. So this is what I'm talking about when I thought I'm going to do this podcast on, is your weight loss, has it become a cold case? If you give up on your weight loss and you're so impatient, just like these people on the internet are calling this murder case a cold case after 2 weeks, which it's not. And I'm going to get into that also because that's the other part of this topic, to actually look at what is the definition of a cold case. But if you are so impatient with your weight and getting that weight off, How will you ever get it off if you just determine that your whole problem is just a cold case, which is what these people are saying this murder investigation is, because they haven't gotten their demanded answer just because they want it. Just because they want it. They just got to have it. You know? Things don't work like that. And also, you don't deserve to just have something instantly just because you want it. This also applies to your weight and getting that weight off. Weight loss, healthy weight loss occurs over time. It doesn't occur in the instant. You can't have it instantly unless you want to go do a cleanse and all you want to do is see that scale move. You just want to see the numbers go down. You can get that result by doing a cleanse, but the reason that you'll see the numbers go down, it's not fat loss, it's poop loss. So, but you can see the numbers go down. So, if you give up and you're so impatient about your progress that your weight loss has become a cold case, how are you ever going to get where you want to go? And you need the right mindset to get through this so you can get to the end. That's what you're missing. That's the big piece that you're missing. Otherwise, why would you be listening to me right now? If you had it all going on and you didn't have any struggles with your eating and your weight, you wouldn't need to listen to this podcast, right? You know what I mean, Jean? Okay, now there's one other piece to this topic of, is your weight loss a cold case? What is the definition of a cold case? A cold case is a case that the authorities have stopped working on. A cold case is not a case that they don't have an arrest in. A cold case is a case that they don't even look at. They don't address. They're not working on it daily. They're not doing anything with it. That's a cold case. So these people online who are demanding this answer and calling this Idaho murder case a cold case because they don't have their answer and it's been 2 weeks, that doesn't mean it's a cold case. The authorities are working on it. They're doing their job. It's really interesting how there's so many people out there who think that they know better than others when they are not the professionals. Now, what does this have to do with your weight? What does this have to do with your weight? Your weight loss might very well be a cold case right now if you are not paying attention to it and working on it and addressing it with conscious action daily and meal after meal after meal after meal. Maybe your weight loss has gone cold. Now, probably you wouldn't have called it a cold case. Instead, you would say you don't have any motivation to lose weight. But it could have gone further than that. Now, I'm thinking that that's not true for you because you're listening to me right now. If your weight loss really had become a cold case, you wouldn't listen to this podcast. You would just be hitting McDonald's, doing whatever, not caring at all. Now, you probably, maybe, still are hitting McDonald's, but you're feeling conflicted about it, and it's a struggle, and you still want to lose weight. That's different than just totally giving up. And actually, I recently did a podcast about that topic of giving up. It was a Get Real episode. That was podcast number 523, 3 Signs It's Time to Give Up on Your Weight Loss Goals. My intention in that podcast was to help you not give up, because I don't think it's good to give up. But I did cover 3 signs that it just might be time to give up on your weight loss goals. You might want to listen to that if you're ready to get real. So you can hear more about that on episode number 523. But yeah, if you're not paying attention to your dream, your goal, your intention to get that weight off, then maybe your weight loss really has become a cold case. So that's the second way of looking at this. Does that make sense? The first piece of this is if you are so impatient, you give up. And that's what these people online are saying. They're defining this murder case as a cold case when it's not, because that's not the definition of a cold case, just because they haven't gotten their result that they demand. But still, the authorities have to do what they're doing. They have to follow their procedures, just like you have to follow certain procedures to get that weight off. And you have to stick with it. You've got to stay consistent. It doesn't happen instantly. But then if you have taken your attention off of your weight loss goals, if you have become so despondent and depressed and you're not even excited, or you've lost all hope. You've lost all hope. And that's a horrible place to be. Hopefully you're not there. Hopefully you're not there, because you won't get the weight off like that. You have to have hope. And what's really interesting is when a brand new client signs up with me, the first thing that I hear is they feel hope. They're feeling hope again. And that's really great. And it's really important. But then you have to take that hope and you've got to turn it into action. You can't just stay in that place where you feel hope, because just feeling hope won't get you to where you want to go. But you can use that to move yourself forward into taking action with new steps that will change your mindset so that you don't turn your weight loss into a cold case and just take all of your attention off of it. And then 5 years from now, you're still overweight or 20 or 50 pounds heavier and still unhappy. Why not get happy now? Why not look your best now? Why not actually do something about this now? But I propose that the most important thing you need to do is address your own mindset. You've got to address your inner world, your inner self. If you heal the root of this problem, if you heal the root of what is driving your unhealthy food choices, your binge eating, your emotional eating, you really can break free of this. But it starts on the inside of you. The food is part of it. There are highly addictive processed foods. But the thing about that is it only takes 3 days to get the majority of that stuff out of your system so that you're not feeling that chemical addiction to the food anymore. That's just 3 days. What's the big deal? Well, you got to come back to the foundation of your mindset. And do you believe that you can really do this? Do you believe that you deserve? That's a big one. That's a huge one right there. There are many challenges that I have seen over the years since 2009, and I also understand them because I've been in the same muckmire myself. But my weight loss coaching clients all share very similar problems. This topic of impatience, deserving, believing that you deserve to be thin, that you deserve to be fit, that you deserve to look your best, that you deserve to feel good about yourself, that you deserve the time that it takes to do what you need to do to take care of yourself. There's a lot wrapped up in this. There's a lot. And I could keep talking because there's more. There's more. And that's why the food diet hasn't fixed it for you, because there's so much more to this. The food diet is important. You have to change how you're eating, what you're eating. You've got to change those things. But that is 7.2% of it, the eating and the exercise. 92.8% of it is your internal world. It's what's going on right between your own two ears. That's where it all starts. And whatever you're thinking is going to determine how you're feeling. And especially if you're an emotional eater or a binge eater, you're not eating for physical hunger. You're eating because of what you're thinking and how you're feeling. You've got to change that foundation. And a food diet, how does a food diet change that for you? So, what did you get out of this podcast today? I hope that by the time you're listening to this, I hope that this case has been solved, this Idaho case. I hope it has been solved. But does it make sense what I've shared with you about your weight loss being a potential cold case? I hope that you don't allow your weight loss to become a cold case, either through impatience or through the actual definition of a cold case, which is where you're not paying attention to it anymore. You're not doing anything with it anymore. You're not even trying. You're not even addressing it. How will you ever get the weight off then? If it makes sense to you that your mindset is the key to this, and if you want to do something about it, if you're serious about it, if you want to stop wondering why you're so smart and successful and so happy in all other areas of your life except when it comes to your eating and your weight. If you want to stop wondering why you can't just get the weight off and actually do it, and if you want help to do this, and if it's making sense to you, even a little bit, that there's more to this than just a food diet. If you want my help, then your first step is to apply for a complimentary weight loss discovery session with me. Do that at www.discovery-session.com. That's www.discovery-session.com. Complete an application for a complimentary weight loss discovery session, and let's go from there. Let's see if we might be able to get on the phone to find out if or how I might be able to help you personally stop struggling with your eating and your weight. Don't let your weight loss become a cold case, okay? Because if you do, if you take your eye off of your goal, how are you ever going to get there? If you're not even addressing this problem daily, consciously, mindfully, and you've got to have the right process and the right steps to address this. Does that make sense? Thanks for tuning in today for another episode of the JoLynn Braley Show. I am JoLynn Braley, permanent weight loss coach, founder of the Inner Self Diet, the diet that actually works if you do it, and if you want to stop struggling with your eating and your weight. I wish you your best life living inside of your ideal body, looking your best in your jeans and feeling fantastic about yourself.